Form. First, here is a reminder on form. Something that is three-dimensional and encloses volume. Form is the three-dimensional version of shape. This is a form that is called a cone. This form is called a cube. This form is called a sphere. This form is called a pyramid. This form is called a cylinder. Cylinders will be extra important for our project today. Today, we are going to talk about the artist Wayne Thiebaud and how he used forms to make some pretty sweet art. I mentioned that he made pretty sweet art. Did you guess that it was food? Wayne Thiebaud made art of all different kinds of treats, in addition to other subjects. But his art of food is what is most famous. You can see that his art shows many kinds of forms, especially lots of cylinders. Some of his cakes are even missing a few pieces. And other pieces of his art show different kinds of forms, like rectangular prisms on this one, and the frosting on the cupcakes, which is almost the shape of a cone. I even see some treats that are kind of cube-shaped. This gumball machine shows another rectangular prism filled with tiny little spheres. For our project today, we will be inspired by Wayne Thiebaud's cakes to make our own cake out of a cylinder. There are two different options for how you can complete this project. For one of the options, we will be using markers along with water and a paintbrush or tissue to make our markers almost work like paint. If you use this option, you will need to draw your cake with a permanent marker. In this case, we will be using a Sharpie marker and regular markers. I will start by drawing my cake. This time I'm going to start with my candles. Next, I will draw the oval that will be the top layer of my cake. Then I'll add straight sides and another curved line at the bottom. Now I can add a second layer if I want to. Because you're starting with Sharpie this time, if you make any mistakes, you'll have to live with them. The other option is to color this using a combination of markers and crayons or another material. If you use this option, it doesn't matter what kind of marker you begin with. I'm going to be using marker for this project so that you can see it in the video, but I strongly recommend beginning with pencil. The first thing we will need to do is draw a stretched oval. You can begin with a completed oval if you want to, but because I can't erase, I'm going to leave a space in mine. Next, we're going to draw a triangle shape to show where a slice of our cake is going to be cut out from. The next thing we're going to do is draw some vertical straight lines coming down from a few key points on our cake. This will turn it into a cylinder. Remember that vertical lines go up and down. This one's going to be a little shorter because it will show where the back of our cake slice is, but the rest should all be about the same length. Next, we will connect these lines with another curve at the bottom. The only line we don't connect is the one that is part of our slice. For this, we will add another triangle at the bottom. If you want to, you can now erase the line down here, but you don't have to. Next, we're going to make the layers of our cake. The first thing I like to do is make a couple of dots that help divide up the space. Next, we're going to make V shapes. You will notice it makes it look like the cake now has layers. If you want to, you could even add stripes going around the outside of your cake, but it's up to you to decide. Now it's time to add our plate and other decorations. I will add a plate by simply making another oval shape that goes around the bottom. You will notice it kind of looks like a top hat now, but once we add all of our decorations, you'll know it's definitely a cake. The next thing I'm going to do is add some tall, skinny cylinders for candles. I draw a little oval, some straight vertical lines, and connect them at the bottom with a small curve. You will notice that mine you can see the lines from the top of the cake through. If you're using pencil, you could erase those. But since mine are there, I'm just going to turn them into part of the pattern of my candles. This is a way of living with my lines. I make them work within my piece of art. Next, we are going to decorate the layers of our cake. I would like you to think about the elements and principles of art that we just learned about. What ways can you show these elements and principles in your cake? You could show different color schemes, patterns, different kinds of lines, all different kinds of elements of art. Next, you need to think about where your cake will be sitting. Will it be on a table? Will it be inside or outside? You make your decisions and adjust your background accordingly. There are many different ways to draw cakes. This is just one example. I would love to see you individualize your cake and show your creativity. I'd rather see your art than see a copy of mine or whatever artist we're studying. Be inspired by the artist, then use your creativity to make your project shine. Finally, if you make a mistake, flip your paper over, fix the mistake, or live with it and just say it's okay and try your best. We all make mistakes, we just have to work through them. You will have paper size and style choice on this project. You can use whatever paper you have available, whether that's lined paper, blank paper, or even watercolor paper. You can also choose what paper size you want. Some artists like to work small, while others like to do giant work. It's up to you to decide. There is nothing to turn in for today, but be sure that you get your cake drawn before next time so that we can talk about coloring. Also remember to ask a grown-up for a safe place to keep your art until next time. Have fun creating your cakes.